So I finally sucked up to do one of these top 10 books of all time. And this isn't going to be like official because all in total I've read like 70 epic fantasy books in the past year because I've started reading epic fantasy in around November of last year. This is just going to be pretty, I would say, novice kind of for fantasy all time. Again, I'm not great at this, but this is my all-time list. I'm gonna be really happy to compare and contrast my list, and from a year from now and 2 years from now, probably have some new favorite series, and some of the bottoms will be booted, but the top I kind of feel like it's gonna remain kind of the same. And yeah, so this is gonna be my list, and first thing on my list is Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. I don't know what it was with the first law. I really like the first law a lot, and then I feel like Last Argument of Kings really ties it together superbly. I put it on my top 10 because of the one scene of Logan having a fight. I'm not going to spoil it, but that was a great scene. Joe Abercrombie is a great writer, and I am super duper excited to get on with Best Served Cold, which I want to get through this year. But Last Argument of Kings, super great. I love how thought-provoking the names of book titles are in First Law. Great, awesome book. 10th place is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I had a blast reading this book. I just had so much fun. This was the funnest I've ever... I think I read it at the perfect time I was reading. A Winter's Heart right near it, and just some books that were really heavy and not action-packed. Like, I was reading heavy books at that point. Like, I was reading Fires of Vengeance. I love Fires of Vengeance, but that was heavy and pretty dark. This was just what I needed at that point, and that's why I liked it so much. I had a lot of fun with Hitchhiker's Guide. So many laughs. I just love how Arthur handles the stuff, how Ford reacts to it. Like, he kind of knows everything in it, and I was having so much fun reading this book, and I feel like it just made me really happy. So I had to put it on because it made me happy. The next book is The Last Olympian. If you haven't read Percy Jackson, this is the Harry Potter of my childhood, but it is better than Harry Potter. Hands down, especially this book. This book is one of the best payoffs. It's one of the best final battles. I've read some great final battles. Read the Narnia final battle. I've read a lot of final battles in my day, and I'm hoping for a Wheel of Time final battle very soon. But this is really one of the best. Like, this still holds up after all this time, and it has so much payoff. I feel like he has a lot of patience, and this is one of the best middle grades of all time, and I will keep saying that no matter what. And I've had so much fun reading, and I'm going to be reading it again next couple of years here, and I will keep rereading it. At least the first 5 of the Percy Jacksons, and I will read Daughter of the Deep here next month. I'm just always going to put this on the list. This is always a must-read for me, and I think it's definitely recommend you reading it because it's Harry Potter but better. The next, I know I just talked about the final battle in Narnia, but I am going to put this on the list. If you have not watched my review for The Last Battle, Chronicles of Narnia, don't, because it was a long time ago and I was trash. But the final battle of Narnia, I feel like is so underrated. It is the most underrated Narnia book of all time because this was really awesome. I feel like C.S. Lewis did something new. I think not the twist, but like how everything played out was super, just like you think a little bit, and also just like really epic. I think it pulled in. It was like an Avengers Endgame style thing, and then the villains were the most hateable out of all Narnia villains, and they were like, I hated them, so I wanted them to go down, or at least the monkey. But I feel like that was crazy. Like the last battle of this was insane. It was like so weird to explain, and I don't know why I'm putting a Narnia book on my top 10 books of all time. But the last battle is very good for some reason, and I definitely recommend you should read. I mean, all Narnia books aren't great. I would say the best books are The Silver Chair, Last Battle, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I loved Magician's Nephew for some reason, but I did not like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was kind of bad. Prince Caspian was okay. I'm sorry. But yeah, Last Battle really paid off. This next one really kicked off my epic fantasy, and that's why I always have a great view of it, because this channel would not be anywhere near what it is today if it wasn't for Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to talk about it again, and I'm going to do another Mistborn video here soon, but Mistborn is awesome. A lot of people love the last book in the trilogy. I do love that book, but I think this is on my top 10 for what it did to me. Like, it really changed my reading taste. It really is just action. It's really, really high appeal. This has been my go-to recommendation recently. Just like, okay, if someone's around my age, I was like, what should I read? I'm like, Mistborn is always, because it'll get you into Brandon Sanderson's really epic fantasy, while also being really, really good on its own, and the writing style is so easy to get into, which is a good thing I think this one is just really, really good. And the fighting style with the magic system makes the fighting so interesting, and I love, love, love Mistborn. And you'll never get me to stop talking about it. This next book is also a book I'm preaching to you guys as well. The Thrawn trilogy. More specifically, Heir to the Empire. Holy cow, I've talked about this a lot. And if you don't know, this is like the sequels, how they should have been. I say they're continuously on par with the first three, and that makes me so happy to hear, or so happy to know that this continuing is almost just as good as original movies. And that's insane to hear that, like, these books. And I think this doesn't get enough recommendations. I know Mike's Book Reviews really likes it. But other than that, not a lot of booktubers or Star Wars fans get their hands on this, which they should. And I'm going to keep preaching it. This is my favorite Legends book of all time. And I've only read 4. I'm reading my 5th one right now. And it's just so great. It was really, really, really just continued everything perfectly. And I felt very smooth transition from the original trilogy to these really next few books, which is really, really awesome. The next book, I am sure you've also heard about many times. And I made a Way of Kings Prime video, but the normal Way of Kings is on my top 10. This is great. I love the Way of Kings so much. I feel like Way of Kings Prime had the depth, had the things to talk about, it was a good book. Way of Kings Prime was a good book. Well, this had the enjoyment level and the good book maxed up. This is super, super enjoyable. And I know it looks thick. I wouldn't say it's really dense because his writing style is just flat. And I really think it gets to know the characters. That's why I love Kaladin so much. That's why I love Dalinar so much. That's why I'm so connected to Shallan, because of his character work, and he gives so much time with them. I think this is the best showing of the multi-POV. I think he does it the very best, because I feel like it feels smooth transitions. I get to know all the characters a lot, and I feel like it's long enough with them, like not 5 pages with them. There's a couple chapters with them, and it's really beautiful. And I think this executes it so well. And as a result of that, these characters are some of my favorite characters of all time. The next book, I'm sure you've heard me talk about plenty of times before, but Rage of Dragons is so good. In controversial opinion, put it over Way of Kings, I would say it's about even with Way of Kings. I would say the series, well, there's more in this Story of My Archive to make it one of my favorite series, but there's only 2 in these, but I really think they could be break even one day as for series. But as books, Way of Kings and Rage of Dragons are dead even. I just gave this the head because I read it more recently and I could talk about it more in depth, but this book is so good. Like, this is insane how great Rage of Dragons is. It is, I would say, what this author is going at is rage and revenge and, like, sorrow and the complex emotions of our main character, Tau. I'm not going to spoil this, but it was super, super excellent. It was perfectly executed. Writing style was perfect. And this is the book you want if you're wanting fights, you're wanting training scenes, you're wanting a character with his own motivations. And, like, this is, one of the things I love about this book is he doesn't care. He's not doing it for anyone. He's doing it because he wants revenge, and he's fighting. He has the willpower. This man wants to get revenge more than anything in the world, and it shows in this book. It's so, so cool to see just how he wants this revenge, and it's so beautiful. Usually, Lord of the Rings would be number 1, but I'm putting it at number 3 just to make it interesting, because if I put Lord of the Rings at number 1, people would be like, oh, everyone says that. But Lord of the Rings, I love it so much. And I didn't want to put it at number one because I've talked about it, and I think everyone knows it's number one, so I feel like everyone has either read it or watched the movie, so it'd be dumb just to put it at number one again. But I am going to put it at number three because it's so beautiful. I recently did a why you need to read Lord of the Rings. Go check that out. If you really wanted me to talk about it, and I've also reviewed all of them. I count this as one book because it is one book. One book. And this is so beautiful. This, again, I wouldn't say it got me in epic fantasy because I read it and then I stopped reading epic fantasy after that. So wholesome, but also shows a lot of war, shows a lot of peace, and the characters are so great. The writing style is so complex and confusing, but once you get used to his writing style, it's truly beautiful. And I feel like Sam is really just one of the the character that you have to go for. And Gandalf shaped the old wizard family, the old person, the old mentor. He was the old mentor of the original, and I feel like it did so much for everything, and it did it so well. Everyone else wanted to do it like that, and I feel like this was so beautiful. I'll see a lot of hate for it, but don't. It's so great, and the movies are great, but the book is way better, which is insane. I'm putting Knife of Dreams at number 3 all time. That's not. I would say this is kind of the whole. This represents the whole Wheel of Time for me. It is so beautiful. The Wheel of Time is really one of my favorite series of all time. It's really so beautiful. And after I finish the slog, it makes me so much happier that I'm like this is right now. I'm enjoying this. I'm finished it, but I enjoyed it so much. All of the series have been really excellent. Even I have starting to get false positive feelings about the slog right now. And it's so beautiful. It's I don't know, Robert Jordan is the greatest writer. A lot of people don't like his writing style. It's too descriptive or something like that, but I don't really mind it whatsoever. It was just really, really beautiful and excellent. The characters are so great because we get so much time with them. This is a 14-book series, and I would say each character gets a 200, they would get 200 pages in a good book. So 200 pages in times 14, that's a lot of time with the characters. And the scenes are so epic. It's so wide scope, but it also feels so in tune. So many characters. Trust me, only about 50 of them you really follow or you really know, but it still sounds a lot, but you get to know all of them, or not. But you get to know all 50 of them really well, and you feel like you're a part of this world and the world building. So beautiful. I have actually just ordered a Wheel of Time map to go over my room, but it's just really one of the best all time. Now I know it's very boring, but told me so many times this is my favorite book of all time. But I'm actually currently rereading it. Dune is the best book of all time. Not my favorite, the best. So you gotta eat on that because Dune is really just a beautiful book. I am going to prepare for an hour-long review I plan to do for Dune after I finish my reread before the movie comes out. I'm not going to say my thoughts for that, so go check that out once I finish Dune. But it's so beautiful. It's so thought-provoking. The world building is excellent. It's Star Wars to its core. It's if you move all the bang, just funny, or the snarkiness of Star Wars, and you move all that out of the way, and you find really, I would say there's still action. There's still a lot of action. There's fighting scenes, but it's really not meant for that. It's a chosen one story, but it's it could be chosen one. It's not he's not oh, you're gonna save the world. It's this person could save the world. And it's so much anticipation. And obviously I know what's going to happen. I think you know what's going to happen because just the context clues. And it's the Baron is plotting. It's just a lot of mind things. It's not a bunch of action. So it's not the most widespread appealing. But Dune is so beautiful. And I'm going to be breaking it down very soon. So check that out. Best book all time. No question about it. It's just so great. I'm sorry, but I have to put Dune at number 1. And it'll never stop being number 1. So it's just, I gotta talk about it, but that was my top 10. Again, I'm probably gonna change a lot, but I just wanted to have a top 10 list out there because I didn't have one. So, see you guys in the next video.